design initiatives. So at the development side, from what I got meeting with Stacey Oliver, she's like the one of the organizers for one group. She said that many homeless people actually do have access to smartphones. One of the last things they would give up, student loans, etc. It's temporary homelessness usually. So it's like the best thing we can do is provide, those resources either in a text-based or like an app-based medium, just convince the resources that are available to them, filter it down to like I have here, there's a lot of shelters that are, women and men, etc. So it's like creating an app or a text-based app that just consolidates that information. And as I mentioned, this is, like I said, just sort of in the brainstorming phase right now, and it goes out on Google Group later for this. But you guys are welcome to contribute and add on to ideas with this. This is there a gap available? No, that's not it. This is a ground up project, definitely. And another thing we might do again is just like help them condense information, like allocate data, basically saying which shelters we pull, which shelters need X supplies, etc. Helping them keep track of the shelters and the resources available from their end.
Does One Roof, do they talk directly to the various shelters throughout Birmingham? What's the relationship with the?
Well, I mean, they do talk. I mean, they, I guess, kind of under their, umbrella, the shelters, like they coordinate with them, I guess. But I don't think
so if we were to take on a project with them and help them, there would be communication between the shelters and they'd be excited about it.
Yeah, like cross communication between the shelters and One Roof, probably. Let's see, and design initiatives that we might do on top of that, just marking places with public internet access and promoting that on the side, just getting people to provide public internet access. For instance, I was thinking like along the lines of like the safe place signs, just marking and indicating where they are for people. And additionally, maybe even providing like brochures for people who don't have access to smartphones, just with all that information in their pocket. That's one thing we could definitely do with them.
Or they can't read.
That's a good question, actually. That's yeah, I mean that's I'll bring that up in the forum. I'll address that. Actually, that's something I haven't thought of yet.
Well, if you live in Birmingham, and we are in one of the biggest homeless areas right here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely an issue to address.
Could have a partnership with the Literacy Council.
That's one thing we want to get on when we're expanding the projects. Is like working with other nonprofits in Birmingham. That's one wing of what we want to do. Absolutely. This one is just about the food desert situation in Birmingham. I had the opportunity to see the concluding, comments on that a few weeks ago, and basically, what I sort of concluded from that and what they presented is, they have this reform, 5 or 6 point reform. The ones I remember, economic, transit, data, education, and providing local food trucks in the areas that are where they're represented by grocery stores. So 80%, I think, of the population of Birmingham doesn't have access to fresh foods, essentially, or immediate access. So that's what the food desert or the Smart Cities Initiative is about, is solving that problem. So I think what we're doing could be a big part of setting up a virtuous cycle in that situation, especially with transit and data, and we have a representative from the BJCTA version. I actually talk about that later. And anyway, so transit data being really critical parts of a virtuous cycle, like I was saying.
So that'd be more efficient allocation of the resources?
Yeah, so I guess we should talk about that a bit more. Like, in terms of transit, just making it more accessible, improving ridership, improving morale, any number of different things that we could participate in, in that endeavor. But in terms of data, I think we're really wanting to push for some sort of like open data policy. That was a big part of the food desert, proposals that like their data reform essentially. And this is like what we would propose, wouldn't necessarily just be solve that problem, but to solve the data problem as a whole in the future.
Because it seems like there's so much waste when it comes to the fresh food stuff. It's not getting sold, they're being thrown out. Whereas if it's inventory properly, it could be allocated, due to demand and supply.
Yeah, I mean, the big issue with Birmingham is just like there's not enough grocery stores per se. There are about to build like a Publix, but there's just not enough like places selling fresh food. Yeah, I mean, you've got places, but not necessarily, and especially in like rural areas and such, they just it's definitely
part of the health action partnership, we have this group called Health Nutrition Group. We're actually having this initiative about Norwood and this lake are having a farming party where they are food for people so they could access fresh foods. And we're starting it this July and all we might want to come from that.
Awesome.
But they're actually focusing on that food desert and we're trying to make all these corner stores provide these
I'll make I haven't made a talk with the desert on the Google group yet, or the Wonder group, but that would be something like I'm terrible at remembering things like that. So you get on the Google group there, I'll have a topic on that later. I'm sure you appreciate it.
So to add on to that, so there's also a lot of the big talk with food deserts are mobile, essentially like mobile grocery stores, mobile trucks, mobile buses, right? And Ms. Ann August can talk a lot about that, but I think something where we could come in with something like that is being able to provide an application that shows where these mobile food trucks are moving to, what their inventory is, and so that people in these neighborhoods know what's coming to them on what days and when they can get access to these fresh foods. So I think that's where we want to be, and we want to be on the technology side of that and partner with these groups that are already working on these mobile food trucks or food buses.
A lot of these areas, they're food deserts, like Collegeville and the Norwood area. They don't have grocery stores, but they do have like quickie mart places. Mobile food trucks, the mobile grocery store, they can partner with them to set up a schedule to arrive at their shared space. Some have some kind of compensation for that market. That's an area where the locals know to go to get their needs met for food and such. And now they have a new choice for new weeks.
How far do food trucks have to be away from restaurants?
Food trucks and restaurants, it depends on the district. There's a lot of levels that those rules are for now, and I'm not really on them. But the law is also specific to food trucks. So if you have like a grocery liquor store, you can sectionalize into something different. City council can probably do a workaround.
These are more mobile markets.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And I think another situation, like moving forward, how we're going to address the reforms in another way would be to not necessarily just create apps from the ground up all the time, but really just see what's been done in other cities. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes there's open source apps for this kind of thing, especially like cross communication with citizens. That's been done before in other cities.
And we're having conversations with a lot of the cities that already have mobile markets, as we call them. We won a conversation last Friday with Chattanooga because they have that process in place in Kansas City. They also have it as well. Kansas City uses buses basically what they did was, the buses that have met issues for life, the transit system donated the buses to the process and repurposed the bus. They took the seats out and put it in actually racks inside. The difference is between Kansas City and Chattanooga is Kansas City has racks for fresh fruits on one side and vegetables on the other, and that's all they do. In Chattanooga, they have truck. They have an 18-wheeler truck that actually schedule, they have it's one truck, but two trucks actually. And what they end up doing is they have produce, they have milk, they have bread, they have all, basically it's a mini supermarket inside of a 18-wheeler. And so their setup is completely different than the Kansas City setup. And so what we're trying to do is determine which one would be better served in this community and which one we can get up the quickest to be able to at least mitigate some of these things in advance rather than waiting, a year or 2 years because you still be behind 8 ball. So, matter of fact, I have a meeting on Monday with Dr. Fuller to talk about that meeting. So,
The question regarding 18 wheelers, I can see are refrigerated,
right.
And so forth. With the buses, are they?
The buses are air conditioned. So, I mean, for fruits and vegetables, that's fine. But when you're talking about milk, and you really have to have a refrigerated truck, which makes up the difference.
So talk to like Budweiser or somebody like that, donate one of their own.
One of the things that I heard in one of the meetings that I mentioned, data collection, is the desire at least to understand how much is being sold in these communities when they go out with trucks and so forth, so that once that data is all collected and tabulated, then maybe there's enough being sold in the neighborhood that someone wants to build a brick and mortar store.
And then the difference too also between Kansas City and Chattanooga. In Kansas City, the mobile food markets are actually operated by the medical center and the hospital because they're tracking data to see if those particular food markets have decreased obesity rates and a lot of other different things that are going on in the community, and diabetes and all those things. And then in Chattanooga, it's operated by the YMCA because of their outreach, exercise programs, healthy fit, and all of those things. So each one of them, they're targeting the same types of communities, but for different reasons.
Yeah, but in terms of data, though, I think that really just it drives like logistic app development definitely, so you can figure out what's working and what's not in certain places.
Where's the funding come from?
Well, in Kansas City, it started with the medical center. And so they were able to get some grants and different things like that. Because like I said, they're targeting how can we reduce the rate of obesity, heart conditions and all of that because people are eating fresh fruits, vegetables. And so they have grants and of course medical grants. And they got a lot of donations from philanthropic type organizations as well. And then in Chattanooga, theirs came from some grants. YMCA, of course, they do a lot of fundraisers, so they got it that way, and the businesses also donated.
Along with that, with the markets and tracking how well they do in certain areas, is there any conversation about education to go along with the produce?
In both cases, they give out pamphlets, they have workshops in the various different communities as well to educate them in terms of why you need to eat these types of fruits and vegetables and those type of things. So they do a lot of that.
They're doing a lot of like health education mandates.
And then they're also tracking to see in Chattanooga what types of products are selling to those in what communities. Yeah, so
Ideally, once they get started using the startup capital, they self-funded.
and they got donations in the beginning as well.
Okay, but in terms of the food editor, I'm just bringing this up. These are just like my findings of my proposals for like what we can do in the future. But like, I guess with a lot of these projects, it's more like for something completely out of left field for that matter, some completely different project. But yeah, I added this slide in. Joseph over here, some of you know him, many of you know him probably. He's going to be taking over sort of the storyteller position here. That's basically just tweeting to our Facebook and Twitter, and so we'll finally have like an active feed rather than just me posting something once a week. So we're expanding in general, so that's just one part of it. And I think another part of it is that basically we're doing a sort of partnership with AL.com. Over here, his colleagues, I guess they're sort of like documenting our meetings, and like what we're talking about, and having like a media like documentary style voice for like what we're doing for the public. And that kind of takes care of like a lot of the brigades like have like blogs, but it's like why you blog when you have that? It's an upgrade. And Philly, I brought this up on the PowerPoint person actually for this. I think Philly has a very good example of this. There's a code Philly brigade, and basically this site has sort of a partnership with them. They have I guess a couple active members in their brigade, and they really just as you can see, they just sort of like summarize it, and as told by like one of the national leaders, this like one of the strongest like media partnerships we've got, and it's the cool thing about it is it's not very difficult to do, to match that even if in a city this size. So back to the PowerPoint though. All right. Another thing I want to present is like infographics, and I'm excited about this one just because it's a micro project that we can always do every month, and I might even just take initiative on designing these. Like that's kind of my background, by the way. It's just sort of like interactive design stuff. So anyway, so once a month, like just putting out an infographic on some sort of issue. So there's like a research into that design end. It's a great way for anybody involved to sort of like get educated about what's going on, and then we can, in the process, like visualize the problem and the resources available to solve those problems. And the strategy I want to do for that, but I'm more on Google is like, one outreach month, and somebody's like, how we talk about, I guess, open data or something like that, and like really just do more research on it and make a little infographic, put it out on Facebook, maybe give it to media groups or whatever. So, really little micro project to get people who aren't in the brigade informed about what we do and how we don't just code, basically. We try to cover a lot of different issues in the brigade. And again, it's a great opportunity to get educated on what's going on in the process. And additionally, I think, just infographics, I think visualizing data is just like, it's a critical way to be able to like identify the problem and find the solutions for it. Like I myself am a hardcore visual learner, so I don't know, there's definitely a lot of power in that medium. But I just posted this topics for August, things we already know a decent bit about it on, we've done a decent bit of research on. Since if we're going to do an infographic this month, since we're like starting late, I figured this would probably be one of the easier topics to do an infographic about. So I have that up on the board as well. If you guys want to make sure you didn't settle on one of these, I guess. But anyway. Open data policy update. So we're not in the process of like drafting and legislation piece. And again, I already know to talk about that. We obviously go, but basically, I'd like to bring somebody who really understands the language of Birmingham legislation, how to draft something. But I'm looking for a team of probably like 10 people to go across these points that Sunlight Foundation has for like what should be an open data policy. Because Chattanooga has a really good one, San Francisco has one, New York has one, but they continue to like update their policy and like what would be an ideal part of that policy. And there's not a single like city that has everything on that level. We could have the premier like the best policy in the country if we wanted to, if we have on that list. So anyway, I would say like there's like 10 people. What we would do is just like go through those points, figure out the specifics of it, and get together for a couple of hack nights on the side, and really just stitch it all together, and we put it up on GitHub and basically like update it and bring it to somebody who can actually draft it into the Birmingham language. And anyway, ops reads also first game, as you can see, we extended out of this table tonight. So anyway, we have 5 positions that we really like to fill right now, and that's basically community organizer, data wrangler, government liaison, nonprofit liaison, event planner. The data wrangler, that's a really immediate need, as well as the community organizer. And the other 3 are they're needed, but particularly like event planner, we don't have a huge event like planned in the very near future or anything. So, but we would love to fill those roles as soon as possible, basically. So Mark and I basically been organizing this for a while, but as the room grows, we can't do everything anymore. So the expectations that would come with that, I can't iterate this enough. Just the round table style of doing things, I think, just works so well for a group like this. Leaders, better than bosses. And more importantly, this applies to everybody, not necessarily just officers. Just that sense of autonomy, just take initiative. Like, if you have a good idea, just throw it out there, contribute, and just everything follows sort of like a common sense logic, and that way. But yeah, this is like this is not on a slide. It's just sort of like a PS that is going to print out a bunch of stickers, car stickers, laptop stickers. Anybody wants that, I'll bring it to the next meeting. And without further ado, I think the part one is not transit. So
okay, I guess so. All right. Take that. All right. Here's there we go. All right, so as Tate said, my name is Marcus, one of the co-organizers of this. My passion is really focused on public transit. It's kind of a big deal for me. I'm very excited to have St. August here, and I'm very grateful that she came tonight. Let's see if I can get this thing going.
There we have the tree and yeah.
I really like to take advantage of this forum, so I want to reach out to everyone.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep this real, excuse me, I'm going to keep this real short on 2 projects that we're working on to help public transit. And I just kind of want to open this up and give everybody a chance to kind of speak about what they're interested in and how they want to help this group. Okay, so this is a project that looks a little kind of crazy. I'm going to see if I can zoom the overlay here. This is a project that I started working on quite a while before St. August was our director, actually. And my goal was to make public transit a little more accessible to first-time riders. And being a technology person, the first thing I thought of was, why aren't we up on Google Transit? Why don't we have a trip planner? Why am I still looking at these old maps that I can't figure out? And so I started working on this project to catalog the stops and build a trip planner. And I thought it was going to be a little month-long weekend project. Turned out to be a little more than that. So I spent a lot of time on it, and as I got involved with it, I built a really good relationship with BKCTA, which is wonderful. They've taken over the project, and they're up on Google Transit. So if anybody go to Google Transit, you can plan out where you want to go, and I'll tell you what bus And so this is a piece of software that I wrote called Certainty. And I really wrote it for myself so that I could plot all these different bus stops. You can see them all here, and then the different routes and generate timetables. And so what the software does is it lets you define all your stops and define all your trips. Okay, so here's the number 12, which goes through Highland Park. So we can take a look at it. We can see all the different stops it goes through. We can look at the variations. And the software allows you to come in here and edit your trip. And you can edit all the properties of it that you need for this data for Google. And you can come in here and you can edit your timetables. That's an important part of this. Being able to, doesn't want to expand here, but being able to say when the bus stop goes, or when the bus goes to which stop. And so this is some software that I've written. It's completely open source, but I really wrote it for myself. So what we're looking at as a group here is to kind of make this a little more robust, get it to work under Windows, since it doesn't work under Windows right now. And I think it's something that could help a lot of transit agencies throughout the country. There's a lot of smaller transit agencies that are really struggling with budget, that need a tool to look at their stops, do some basic planning, and be able to generate data that they can export to a trip plan. And there's really nothing like that out there right now. And so this is a project that I'm very excited about, and yes, some other people who are very excited about it in this group being able to make this a little more robust and make sure that transit agencies can use it. So this is called Subteam. It's named after the Metro and Western. And it's up on GitHub, all the source code is out there. So we're just kind of looking for some developers to kind of help us clean this up, document it, get it ported over to Windows, make some more changes so that it would help the transit agencies. We'd like to put in more information about ridership, bring in density maps of cities so that the agency can look at where the riders are, where the population is, and kind of help plan and work at some of the routes. So I think it could be some really great open source software that help a lot of people. So I'm going to stop talking about that. Another thing that is something that we've kind of all talked about, and I'm not going to talk about this too much, are the maps for our bus system. I know when I first looked at our flyers that we had, our printout flyers and flyers online, I found a lot of the maps very confusing, especially before you get a trip planner trying to figure out, oh, here, I want to go here, what routes am I going to ride? And so something that I think would be fun to play with are looking at a lot of different ways to visualize our bus system and a lot of different styles of maps for getting this information out to users to make the ridership. I was in Paris last week, so I played around a little bit with making some Metro style maps because I really love Paris Metro. So this is, what's cool about this is I'm a programmer, not a graphic designer. So I was able to take the GTFS data, which is the data that we use for trip planning, which BJCT has been publishing as an update. Awesome, I love this open data. So we can do cool things like take that data and run it through scripts and generate things like this. So this is kind of your Metro style a map that shows all your stops and shows your connections along the way. Obviously, because our system is a hub and spoke system, we have a lot of connections at Central Station, and then it kind of goes out from there. But it shows the stops along the way anytime you get to the connection point. So a lot of this was looking at how do you connect to other lines and how do you make transfers. So just kind of a few of them. So here's the number 20. The number 20 is interesting because this one also goes out to the airport, so we can look at how you connect to the airport, how you connect to the airport, how you connect to Greyhound, and other systems throughout the city. We can, let's see here, I want to show one more on here. And of course we can show, points of interest along something like this. So now when you look at a stop, you can see how many stops down is it to UAE Hospital. So these are the style of maps that are typically in most metro systems. So if you get on the underground, you see this above the door, and it shows you the various stops. You can count 4 stops down. This is where I get off. So I thought this would be a fun little thing to play with. But we have a lot of different ideas for how we can do some mapping.
Do you have the script that you generate this on your GitHub?
I haven't published it yet, but I'll be happy to. Be happy to get it and publish it if anybody wants it. So what's interesting about the script is it can take any GTFS data, so it's not specific to Birmingham. We can take it for any other city and generate this style map. And we can generate anything that we want. And that's the great thing about having this open data is we have a lot of things to play with and let the citizens try different ideas to visualize stuff. So I know BJCTA has been working on some new maps and some new flyers, and I think this would be a great chance to kind of talk about what you guys have been working on and how we can work together on some things. So
You need all the help we can get. One thing, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with this, but one of the things that we're always plagued with, was it happened in February, when we had the ice storm, and we had to pull vehicles off the street. How do we communicate with our passengers who may not be listening to a radio, might not have access to a TV? They might be working in Walmart in shipping and receiving. And at 11 o'clock, we have to pull buses off the street because we're getting information from emergency management saying, pull your buses off, it's icy, you can't go up the hills, you can't do this. And we're pulling the buses off the street to mitigate the problems that's out there on the street already. But now we have people that are stranded. Well, a lot of other people are stranded too that have cars, so it's not just the people who on the buses. But how can we create something, some way of communication to get to our public? Are you guys listening?
Yeah, we'd love to. And obviously, first thought we have is, well, integrate this as some sort of app. So I guess the question is, the current population that rides the bus has access to a smartphone. Or maybe it doesn't have to be a smartphone, maybe you just need to phone and text it.
Yeah, I was going to say SMS is probably the best backbone to build off of.
Also, Android and iPhone both have a push notification system. And what happens is there's Android and iPhone both. I have to do research to figure out what service it is. But whenever there's some type of natural disaster, like thunderstorm or traffic is extremely bad or something like that, or for instance, the snow pocket, whatever we call it, we get push notifications for our smartphone. The simplest thing for us to do would be just like create some type of plugin to that notifications push straight to everybody.
What about those who don't have smartphones?
There's also text messages, and those text messages is also essential because we can send like a broad text message as well. For instance, we've all received a text message during like a thunderstorm. I mean, not thunderstorm. Tornado. There's a central service for that. I don't have to do the research to figure out what that central service is, but it's available.
Giving out a message, we are assuming that the phone is on, and during natural disasters, we all know that because of power outages, it might just run out.
Yeah.
So rather than that,
that's when you have to hope that broadcast in some.
we have the tornado warnings where a siren goes off.
Yeah.
We can have something similar to that.
What about you see the airplanes where you're at the beach with the big banners?
What's the best way for someone to register for a text message service?
The beautiful thing about it is those tornado services, that tornado broadcast that we have when you get your text message, that push notification, you didn't register for anything. You just automatically enroll into it. Like I said, I probably have to do some research to figure out what that service is, what is it called, or whatever.
Right.
But I know I have never signed up for anything and told them they said, I want to be notified when there is a tornado in my yard.
I've never.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
I might be in the minority, but I've never had a thing since to me about tornado.
Oh,
No, I have.
Yeah, sound, or, burn.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you need to get your addition.
Oh, yeah.
They need to know.
Yeah.
And usually on those, no matter what platform you're on or who your provider is, the people around me will get that same.
I guess, I just
If you
pick somebody who's not there.
at a, at a business, someone mentioned, working in the back of warehouse and stuff. There's also, is there potential for an automated call to businesses that choose to sign up? And it not just be for transfer information, but for any, kind of form of warning, the tornado and stuff, does through the EMA, as just an alert system.
Just a public alert system where you can
Right,
alert everyone.
But instead of like, let's say, for example, someone's working at, Walmart. An automated phone call would go in to that Walmart location, to the manager or assistant manager's phone. They pick it up, they receive that warning, and then they pass it on to employees. That way, you bypass, or they pay attention to cell phones, they have turned off, turned on, or busy.
And that's when we get back to our open data policy. If it was just like, for me, there was a central location where every Walmart was located, his GPS coordinates and things like that. And I can easily create an application that could do, perform that action. However, I don't think that information is available.
Kate, are there many apps right now out for disaster relief, local disaster relief?
I feel like I've run across a couple. I can't think of anything specifically off the top of my head.
So I can't think of anything that anybody had out. Some clips to.
Or like collaborating efforts.
Or just, like so-and-so highway has this, this person last week. Yeah.
Canada, they used a really cool app to let this apocalypse situation basically happen. They were like pinpointing their house locations so you can stay here.
That's something.
I think that was just based on Google Maps, though. You don't necessarily go with that or something like that. But I think basically, Mark and myself, we were just proposing our products and what we're doing right now. But I think in the future that's going to be much more condensed as we're like bringing in new people with new ideas and such. This was more just for lack of content, I guess, discuss what we're doing. But the idea is, you guys have autonomy in terms of joining into ongoing projects or proposing new ones, and ideally just breaking off into small groups, bringing in as many people as you want to, or feel like you need, have a full designers, coders here, marketing people here, and they're active on the groups and are willing to contribute to these sorts of things. And, ideally, again, they're just breaking off into small groups and, meeting in person if necessary amongst yourselves. And, I feel like that's the optimal way for us to get a lot done, basically. Not from the top down, but just spread out.
As far as when projects come in, there's always been here, saying, I need this to happen. And so now we have like a small pool of ideas.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So this for future, public officials or business leaders or whatever, like we need this. And this would solve a lot of problems, like this problem right here. This is literally something that can be solved, right?
Yeah, this is something.
Yeah, that's just, first of all, thank you very much for connecting with him. I haven't met you before, but I'm really looking forward for this opportunity. And I'm Sri Karan, the new director of IMS there, and this is very honor. And we are here to talk about this thing. There are a lot of new projects in the pipeline for us, and especially the mayor's vision to bring the technology to the forefront. And as a matter of fact, for the city, we really put the technology in the past year. In the process of upgrading our website, it will be released about very soon, and also a framework we are developing. But that's just the beginning. But going forward, really like this collaborative effort, and so much of brain power right here. So going forward, is what we want to bring public officials here. we have community development. Like IBM has actually part of the smart cities for Birmingham. And the same thing, Microsoft has actually, we're collaborating with them. They have nominated City of Birmingham for the City Next program. Actually, we're taking up their Dynamics program tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So a lot of things are happening, and we want to really utilize the open source technology. And speaking of the open data policy, we can definitely get with our city attorney, and we want to collaborate with and come up with some kind of open data policy, because we just met with UAB, Dr. Wah, because we have a memorandum of MOU with them to share the data. So a lot of these things we can really do it. I'd like to bring community development, economic development, and I would like to have my staff come here and learn a lot from here and contribute for this. So speaking of projects, there won't be dearth of any projects. It's only that you need to pick and choose. But I'm here to ask all your help. I just like how this mapping system is very impressive. So going forward, you already have August month set up, but for September, keep it open. If you all want to get, I will bring at least a couple of leaders along with our city attorney and also come here just to see what all can be done, and then we can really put City of Birmingham in the forefront in terms of all these mobile apps. Plus, we are one of the 5 nominees for the DNC 2016. So we have to really kickstart the technology. So I'm really asking for all your help.
Yeah,
Shri, S-R-I, Kara, K-A-R-R-A. And this is my second month here.
Where did you move from?
I'm actually from Birmingham, but for temporary moved to Florida, and I'm back here. What's it? Director of IMS.
I have a crisis communication app. I do not have it built yet. I got cancer, and I had to stop, and I'm doing great. I'm doing really well. But I work with a lot of manufacturers that get into, they have problems in the manufacturing arena, where they'll have someone, fall from 40 feet, or they'll have someone punched up against the wall with a forklift or something like that. And then everything ensues, everybody freaks out, no matter how calm and how many times, you see somebody lying there dying, and everything just goes. And so, and what happens is, in my arena, they start making mistakes, which are very costly. And so we created this plan for this app before I got sick. And it was so well received. And so we tried to dummy proof all the stuff that they were doing wrong. We worked with the safety and health people and
Which organization?
Panorama Public Relations. And I would love to give you all what I have, because for selfish reasons, I could then turn around and, if I ever wanted to, sell it, donate proceeds back to our group. And because I had so many people interested in hunt refining and big companies. So yeah, I need some help on it, but I'll be glad to share that however you want me to share it.
Fantastic. Yeah, some of these projects, particularly the ones that other reasons, a lot of them are open source, but a lot of them aren't. And there's strengths and weaknesses to either model. But some of the more well-developed apps are sometimes closed in the sense that you have to buy them and implement them in the city. But yeah, absolutely.
This was I think the model that we were going towards, subscription-based model. And we really hadn't gotten to the economics totally of it yet, but we knew that we had done some projections on it before. But anyway.
Absolutely. We do something on that. Make that a topic.
Yeah. Okay.
What would you name it?
Darling Garage. You got the card.
And that's kind of the thing you guys are coming out as well, actually. And that's going to mention also, I think one of the things that separates a good brigade in each city from a great brigade is like the strong government partnership and ability to reach common goals on things. So you would appreciate the more urban officials, the more the merrier. So, yeah, that's my other things. Anybody have any other questions or comments?
I'm currently working on a number of projects. I'm basically an idea guy, so I come up with these ideas, and then I started working on. I've been looking at working with Marcus on his sub T, trying to get it put it over in Windows, and that's going on. That's, you have a Git organization.
We have a good page, yes.
All right, I'll go and things that I'm currently working on is just small things to help out the city, which I thought were cool and easy to do, like medium projects. So I'm working on a band tracker, using things like AI.com, Alabama 365, and stuff like that, to see which bands are playing, and then you can like go open the app and like, I can't think of a band name. Anyway, Jasper Cole are playing at
Nobody listens to those guys.
So it just could be something cool and small that we can do to show that we're like actually out there doing something and that we have the ability to make things happen. I'm also working and through this meeting I got the idea of the whole food truck app. That would be awesome. It's really low, but one of those GPS things inside with their permission inside of the truck. And then we can just open up the application and just see where it's food, because I'm starting college student. The hardest thing that I have to deal with coming out of school is like figuring out what's to eat and what's around to eat. And another medium or resource to help me do that is well received by me. And I imagine it will be well received by others. If no one else uses the application, I would. We talked about sub-T and the transit app and the disaster relief. I'm going to do some research and see what all it takes to get plugged into like whatever system that is, or if there's a system in place. I know it's something. I'm not really sure what it is. And I would be really interested in talking more about your practice communication plan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to get back to the square one, we talked breaking the meeting, just the project poll, that's the always, I guess, a common problem with starting a brigade. Like I talked to one of the organizers from Atlanta, and their brigade's about as old as ours, just a couple months now, doing meetings and such, and they're also like struggling to like really get like that first successful project down. And I was talking with Marcus last night and Ian about how like I guess starting a brigade, it's sort of like picking up like a football team or something, like that first project sometimes takes a little while, but I'm really excited about like micro projects and things that are already like 70% complete and stuff like that. But those are the kind of wins, the first projects. We really want to like have it done so we have something under our belt, that kind of confidence moving forward. And yeah, I can't reiterate enough just that like that the initiative, I guess, just like participating subjects, even if they like go slower because there's deep projects going on, you can always, like a lot of these brigades, they sort of find ways of bringing in people who don't necessarily code, just to, like report the best, and there's ways to do that basically. Just people in outside the brigade to help finish things.
Next time, do you guys mind if we all introduce ourselves? Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's not bad. Yeah, if you want to do late introductions, as a matter of fact, I forgot to do that earlier. I noticed that like halfway through, as a matter of fact. So
swing exercise, you know.
Should do it raw. To use partnership.
Yeah, I mean, all of us are there. I'm Tate, and I'm the brigade leader for Birmingham. Me and Marcus sort of like co-organize it, but my background's interactive design. I'm finishing up my undergrad degree this fall, and that's.
All right, and I'm Marcus, co-organizer. I'm a software development programmer.
I'm Jackie Kim. I work for Goodwin Milton K with architecture firm, and I'm a graphic designer. My name is Nisa May. I'm also a graphic designer, and I also teach in
Robert Dole, background is in advertising and media research.
Brian Carey, I work with Jackie at Goodwin Milton K, and my focus is on marketing brands.
I'm Ron Crenshaw. I'm the senior GIS analyst with Alabama Power. Moved here from Atlanta probably a year ago. Originally from Birmingham, but moved back. So, heard about the meeting and thought I'd join in and help out.
I'm excited to have a GIS person with you guys. It's important.
Oh, me? Well, I'm Joseph Baker, philosopher, civic activist, craft beer professional, computer expert, political consultant, hopefully soon to be documentarian. You know, is that it? I can't remember. Entrepreneur soon. Founder of I Believe in Birmingham, civic activism group, which has many parallels with this, although less of a computer programming angle and more of just a civic engagement. So, of course, this will be promoted heavily there. So of course I'm the storyteller for our little group here. So say hello to the live action camera here, buddy.
Barry Law, City of Birmingham, Information Management Services. We are working together.
Yeah, Sheree Karan with the City of Birmingham.
Darlene Roch with Panorama PR, and we have a crisis consultancy, and I got in it by accident during 9/11 when one of my contractors had a foam that they were spraying out of helicopters that happened to remediate anthrax, and he remediated the Hart building. And I was baptism by fire. I was dealing with international media and crazy stuff, getting him into Washington, and so, but I love it.
And on this executive director for BACTA.
I'm Larry Armstrong, work with the Rock Board Advisors.
Richard Briggs, I'm the newest edition of Panorama VR, finishing up my degree this fall, and specializing in business development.
It's shocking.
My name is Austin Farman. I go to UAB. I'm an information systems major. I'm graduating in the fall. Work for Red Bull America.
My name is Ian Hopping. I'm a tech reporter for News.com.
I'm Miranda McPherson. I am a graphic designer and co-owner of Clear Marketing Design. And I'm also one of the organizers for the first Thursday Birmingham Art Film. So I'll definitely be interested in event planning.
I'm the chair. I'm a junior high school, so I'm really this one here. I do programming and hobby, and I've been doing it for the last 2 years. And I help out with local restaurants around here and bakeries with their websites.
Before we move on, I would like to say I'm also the participated in our campus. My vice president and our chief programmer came to attest to his skill. That's a very television meeting right there.
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm working at UAB in computational pathology, emphasis on computational and work builder.
I am Trey Watts, I'm an artist.
Richard Nix, Navy vet, background in electronics, electrical systems, currently working at IMS as a medical equipment quality control.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to give all of you my business card. If you could just. No, right? No, you can say so, but that's who I got. My name is Jamal Harris. I'm the founder of Absolute Community LLC. I'm a student at UAB, chair of ACM, and what's ACM? ACM, the Association for Computing Machinery. And just general entrepreneur / software developer. I just happen to have the weird ability to be a people person at the same time. So it's weird, but I'm good at what I do.
All right, well, with that, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I don't want to run this meeting on too long. There was a sign-up sheet going around. Did it make it very? Yeah, it's on your. No. It's on the chair. How many people did it? It'd be great to get everybody to sign up to make sure everybody's. Like us on Facebook and on our groups. That's where a lot of our discussion happens. So if anybody would like to stick around and discuss some projects, we'd love to stay after. But thank you, everybody, especially our civic leaders. Thank you. It's really exciting to have these partnerships.
There's beer in the fridge, folks.
And there's
Pleasure to meet you.